Hey, Len Erickson here with another Purveyor of Light quick tip. Today we're just going to do a really quick one. We're going to try to keep this under 2 minutes. We're going to edit this image here, this sculpture, and we're going to turn it into a dramatic black and white. And we're going to do that in under 2 minutes. So I'm going to show you how easy it is. Okay, just for a little background, so many people today are just comfortable with filters, and they take an image, they tap a filter, and they're done. There's so much more. There's so much more creativity, and hopefully this image will spark a little creativity, and hopefully you'll take your images and start taking them to the next level. So let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, so here I've got an image, and to be honest, it lacks contrast. It's a little bit fading, and the images, the colors, they don't work with each other. Okay, now this may be what it looked like in real life, but the colors don't work together. The sculpture has weathered and aged, and the columns and that, for me, the colors are actually taking away from the image. So this is a perfect candidate for us to go take this into a dramatic black and white. All right, so let's jump in, show you how easy it is. First thing I want to do is work non-destructively, so I'm going to right click on the image and I'm going to convert to a smart object. Okay, this gives me the ability to do all my edits, make adjustments, go back, make adjustments without damaging the image in the first place. Okay, so I'm going to open up a filter and I'm going to go to Camera Raw. And now once in Camera Raw, I'm just going to do some basic edits. Like I said, I'm going to go to the black and white. So now we have a relatively flat version of the color version. Okay, lacks contrast and detail. But we're going to go ahead and do some basic edits here and do some adjustments. Okay, so the first thing I see here is some exposure. And I'm going to take our exposure up probably to about there. And the contrast, well, I'm going to actually do a lot of the contrasting inside of Photoshop, so I'm going to drop the contrast ever so slightly. The highlights, again, I'm watching the histogram across in the upper right, and I'm watching how I do that, moving the tonal range of the image. And I'm going to say about right there. For the shadows, I'm going to head and drop the shadows down because I need more blacks in the shadows, so I'm going to drop them considerably down. And I'm going to say to about there for now. And the whites, well, we don't really have a white point at all. We're kind of like all gray, so I really do need to push. And again, I'm looking at the histogram and pushing it to the right. Okay, I don't want to push it till it clips. Okay, you see the clipping indicator up in the bar right here in the upper right. You see the clipping indicator came on. So I'm pushing it back because I don't want to clip the whites. And so I'm going to put it to about there, so I have at least somewhat of a white point. And the blacks, I'm going to, again, watching the histogram. That's how I'm judging my stuff. If I push it all the way, you can see I'm clipping the blacks. Okay, and I don't want to turn around and clip the blacks, so I'm just moving it. Okay, now I'm liking the dramatic effect, and I'm fighting that I am fighting it, but I am going to clip the blacks just ever so slightly because I like the dramatic effect that it makes on the image. So we'll leave that there. Clarity in that, we'll leave that to the end. We'll come back in. We hit OK. And so now we're into Photoshop. We're into the basic image. Okay. And again, just to turn around and just jump in here, there's your beginning image. Okay. And now with the Camera Raw adjustments, you can see already in a short amount of time, we've made a pretty dramatic photograph. The next thing I want to do is I want to increase the contrast ever so slightly, so I want to turn around and do a curves adjustment layer. Okay, so I want to go up and do a curves adjustment layer and curves adjustment, and This one here, I want to do just a little bit of increase in contrast. So I'm going to do the classic S curve. So I'm going to bring up the highlights ever so slightly, and I'm going to bring down the shadows ever so slightly. And again, I'm adjusting it by eye, okay? And I'm pretty happy. I'm not quite happy with that. Let me see here. Approximately there for an S curve. Okay, and again, because we're working non-destructively, I can always come back into these adjustment layers and make any last minute tweaks if I'm unhappy with something. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to just do a little dodging and burning, because I can see here where the light is hitting certain areas of the photograph. We could give it a little helping hand. Okay, and so I'm going to go ahead and do a another curves adjustment. And this time I'm going to pull it up because I'm going to do some burning. And now I'm going to click on the mask and I'm going to invert it by Command I or Control I on the PC. And I've converted it, which hides all the effects of it. Now I'm just simply going to turn around and make sure I have my white color selected. And I'm going to bring up a paintbrush. And I'm going to use a very soft brush. Okay, again, very soft. And I'm going to paint with a very low flow. Okay, so here I'm painting with a flow of 14. Okay, I'm painting on the mask of the curve adjustment. And I'm just going to paint with white and just gently come in. Now, where am I painting? I'm painting where the light is naturally there. Okay, so where I see the highlights is I'm throwing a little extra emphasis. Okay, and again, you can adjust your brush. And of course, when you're doing this on your image, you'll take a lot more care and a lot more effort than what I'm doing here. Here I'm just doing a demonstration really quick, and I said I was going to keep this under 2 minutes, and I hope I do so. So again, I'm just taking some quick brush strokes, hitting the areas where the natural light is hitting. Okay, and then I'm emphasizing that by increasing it. Okay, where I see the light hit the image. Okay, and I'll even do it on the sculpture here. Wherever I see light coming in, I will emphasize it with a little bit of dodging. Okay, and you'd be surprised on how much this adds to your image. Okay, a lot of people discount dodging and burning, but I consider it to be one of the most interesting ways to improve your photograph. Okay, so there I've done some really quick dodge and burns. Let's turn that on and off to show you the difference. And you can see there, again, the effect is subtle, but you can see it actually adds depth and dimension to the photograph. Okay, all right, so last thing is I want to go back into Camera Raw, and I'm going to open that up, and I'm now going to boost the clarity. Okay, not too much. I don't want to make it crunchy, but I want to boost the clarity. I'm going to bring in the zoom here. And look at this here. Okay. I'll say about right there. Yeah, that looks about pretty good there. And hit OK. Okay, so there we have taken a rather drab photo, started here, lacked contrast and fading. The colors really distracted away from the image, and we've turned it into a nice dramatic black and white image. And we did it with a couple curves adjustment layers, and that's all it took. So hopefully you found this useful, and hopefully this will inspire you guys to open up your own catalog image and start messing around and try to do some dramatic black and white images. I think you'll find it really gratifying. Okay, till next week, you guys take care.